Hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking101 here, and happy Father's Day to all. I think last month around Mother's Day I did a video on Big Mom's devil fruits, so I think if we're just gonna follow that same kind of reasoning, we should do a video about Big Daddy Capone Beiji's devil fruit. But we already did that, and we already did a video on Beiji as well, so I'm just gonna shove those videos aside, and you can go check them out up here if you want. And by the way, you might say Capone Beiji's not the greatest dad in the world, you know, he's teaching his son some questionable activities, you know, but hey, come on, he's a mafia boss. He's gonna teach his son what he knows. He's not gonna be like, I am the mafia boss, I ruled over the West Blue, but son, I'm gonna teach you how to flip burgers at a McDonald's. You know, it just kind of goes with his line of work, right? Okay, I'm sure Pez will grow up to be a great mafioso, alright? But, hey, at least he's there for his son, alright? I'm going down the different Straw Hats here, and I'm like, alright, well, I already did a video on Dragon, but I really wouldn't talk about Dragon today anyway, because he doesn't really see his son very often. He did have that one moment at Logtown where he saved Luffy from being, you know, taken out by smokers, so that was cool. But at the end of the day, it seems Luffy and Dragon really don't, like, care about each other in that way. Like, I'm sure they're gonna meet at some point, but I highly doubt it's gonna be anything highly emotional. I don't think Luffy's gonna see Dragon and be like, Daddy, I missed you so much, and Dragon's gonna be like, Son! And they embrace. You know, they're both doing their own things in the world, you know, I'm sure it's his son, you know, he's not just gonna let Luffy die or get arrested in the hands of the Marines or something like that. You know, but it's like, hey, we're both doing our separate things, and we don't even know each other, really, so, you know, it's just that kind of deal, right? But hey, he's leaps and bounds better than Usopp's dad, Yasopp, for, you know, the whole just abandoning his sick wife and small child to go out and be a pirate. Be like, alright, Banshina, I know we got together and we're gonna have a kid soon, or maybe Usopp was a little boy at that time, but he's like, you know what? There's this guy, this ginger, just showed up at the coast of our village, and he seems like a nice guy, so I'm just gonna leave with him to be a pirate and, you know, pillage villages and destroy the Marines, and then that sounds like a fun time. Bye! I mean, like, I'm being a little bit of hyperbolic there and everything. I'm sure Shanks's, you know, his pitch to Yasopp to come and join his crew was not like, you know, abandon your family so we can burn islands down. I'm sure it was a little bit more romanticized than that. Shanks probably had something similar to, like, Luffy, like, come on, Yasopp, join my crew. We'll sail the seven seas for high adventure. But still, I mean, Yasopp should be aware of what being a pirate is and entails, and Banshina, I think, was, like, okay with it after a while, because she pretty much had to be, and she had to be kind of optimistic for Usopp and all that stuff, but you could tell she was probably mighty pissed by that. So I'm like, alright, well, whose dad am I gonna talk about today? It basically came down to two choices, alright? And there's a lot of good dads in One Piece, too. Kiros is good, you got Pound, who sacrificed himself for the daughter he barely knew. So you got some good dads. And you got some good father figures as well. You know, not everybody, you know, has to have biological connections. You know, it's the connections with the heart that really matter. So it came down to two I was gonna talk about today. Zeph, Sanji's foster father, essentially, or Hiriluk, who is Chopper's foster father. And I decided to go with Hiriluk today, because there's some stuff that you can talk about regarding Hiriluk that might actually connect back to Wano right now. And this kind of led me to a thing that's like, hey, why not just do videos on all the different, like, Straw Hats, like, you know, like father and mother figures? I could do a video on Dadan, on Zeph, on Belmere, on Tom, maybe Yorkie, not really Brooke's father figure, but, you know, his friend. I mean, you know what I mean? I got Saul for Robin, you know, I could do that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'll probably start a series doing that, but we're kicking this off with Hiruluk, okay? Because Hiruluk's story is absolutely beautiful, alright? The Drum Island arc has always kind of had a special place in my heart. It had like a kind of like a Christmas aesthetic going on, and I just like the feeling of the arc, right? But Hiruluk's backstory, you know, after hearing that, and and after watching it, I mean, I've watched his death scene a bunch of times in the anime, just because it is so well done. You have that rendition of Ave Maria playing in the background, one of the very few times that, like, an actual song, like, not just something like a soundtrack that was created for One Piece, like an actual song is used in One Piece. And you got this speech by Hiriluk talking about how when a man truly dies, and he never dies unless his spirit lives on and people remember him, and then Dalton's crying, and you have this guy, Wapol, who's just so full of himself. He doesn't, like, everything Hiriluk is saying, it's just going in one ear and out the other for Wapol. He doesn't care. But Hiriluk isn't saying it so Wapol will understand. He knows that Wapol's never going to change. He's hoping maybe that his words will inspire others. And they did. They ended up inspiring Dalton, who then became the king of Drum Island, or Sakura Kingdom, which is, well, it's still Drum Island, but it's the Sakura Kingdom, right? So, the story of Hiriluk, we don't know his full backstory. Like, we don't get to see a flashback of him when he was younger, but in his younger days, he said that he was a thief. Alright, so he was just a down and out, kind of like a 2-bit thief. Not even like a famous thief, you know, like all around the world, people know about Hiriluk. No, he's just, probably just, you know, going around islands and just stealing stuff to live, and that's just how he lived, right? Eventually, he was diagnosed with a horrible, incurable illness. Not really sure what the kind of illness was, but it was horrible and incurable, so not very good, you know? And so he basically kind of, you know, made peace with it and just like, I'm dead, you know, there's nothing I can do. I might as well just go out, you know, doing what I've always done and things like that. And he kind of just gave up hope and just resigned himself to, like, death and shit. You know, it's like, oh, it's gonna happen, so who cares? And then he talks about this vague land. He doesn't name the island, he doesn't say where it was at or anything, but he states that, I laid my eyes upon this beautiful, immaculate landscape, filled with cherry blossoms, as far as the eye could see. Just a field filled with trees and the flowing cherry blossoms, and one look upon this beautiful landscape, and my illness was cured. Now, it's also important to bring up here that because he was so vague with this whole deal, the disease he might have been diagnosed with might have not have been like an actual disease in the sense of, like, you know, cancer or some debilitating disease. No, it might have been a disease like of the heart, or it might have been like a mental disorder. It might have been something like maybe he had depression or something. Maybe he lost hope in humanity or something like that, and he was just, you know, a petty thief and just like, I don't care about anyone. Maybe he, you know, was disconnected from the whole world and stuff. And when he saw those cherry blossoms, that reinvigorated his hope and his, you know, he saw the light, so to speak. And he became, you know, I'm gonna be a better person now, like the Scrooge effect, kind of. And he decided to head back to his homeland, which was Drum Kingdom, and, you know, become a doctor and try to help out other people. It could have been something like that. Now, it could have been literal as well. It could have been like he had this horrible disease and he was like, his body itself was dying. I'm just saying, you know, with the whole thing with Hiriluk, you know, look at it from a different angle, okay? So he goes back to Drum Island and he decides to start working in medicine, except he wasn't very good at it. But his intentions were good, but he wasn't very good at it, which, you know, all the good intentions in the world don't really help you when all you can create is like medicine that explodes or turns you into a frog human, you know, that's really not good. It's like, Doc, I think I have strep throat. It's like, oh, well, I have this giant syringe that is comically huge. Allow me just to shove this up your... Ah! You good? I don't know, my skin's turning blue now, is that normal? Probably. Hold on a second. I have this giant pill. And then before you know it, you're just like turning into a giant blue elephant or something. You know, just like, it was rather comical with how he, you know, was a doctor, but, you know, he was trying to help out other people. Now, thank God there were other doctors on the island like Kureha that were actual doctors, you know. Now, Hiruluk wasn't like a stupid idiot. He wasn't like a guy that didn't know anything about medical science. Like, Chopper got all banged up and he managed to, you know, bandage him up and everything. It's just whenever Hiruluk was messing around with chemistry and trying to invent new medicines to just shove down a patient's gullet, that stuff tended to not work out too well, alright? So, maybe you should have deferred to Kureha. I was like, let me have a little bit of a consultation with my colleague here. You know, she might be able to help you out more. But basically around this time is when Wapol, of course, was commanding all of his forces to round up every doctor in the kingdom only for himself. The Ishi-20 worked all for Wapol. And then pretty much all you had was Hiruluk, who was regarded as just a quack or a thief running around town, you know, with these mad scientist Frankenstein experiments. And then Kureha, who was regarded as like the old witch, but an actual doctor, right? And eventually he meets Chopper, who is like at the time thought to be just this yeti. And he doesn't doesn't regard Chopper as a monster at first. That's one thing that speaks volumes about his character, right? He's wandering through the woods, it's night, it's a blizzard, and he sees this giant hulking gorilla bleeding. And Hiruluk's like, oh, hey, wait a second, I remember you. The townsfolk were talking about this Yeti that they shot. Ah, well, don't worry, I'll patch you up in a second. In fact, I invented this ointment the other day that's great for gunshot wounds. So already, the ointment maybe might not have helped him too much, but he was like, this is somebody that is in need of medical treatment. All right, and that's really the essence of a doctor. All right, that's the Hippocratic Oath. If somebody is injured or needs medical assistance, it's your duty as a doctor to help them, regardless of who it is, or in this case, what it is, because he doesn't have any idea about like who Chopper really is, or his origins, or the human fruit, or anything like that. He just sees somebody bleeding out in the snow, regardless of who it is. And even after Chopper, because he's all banged up and bleeding and rather untrusting of humans at this point, even after Chopper like hulks out and attacks Hiriluk, the first thing he does, the thing that really earns Chopper's trust for the rest of his life, he gets stark-ass naked, because that's how you know you can trust someone. It's like, all right, hold on. Before you beat the crap out of me, let's just go this angle with it. Let's see where this goes. So he rips off all of his clothes in the middle of a blizzard, and he's just standing there, censored Austin Powers style, and it's just like, I'm not gonna hurt you, all right? I'm sorry. And Chopper, rather dumbfounded by this, probably more than anything, and just like, what? And then he just passes out from the blood loss anyway, and also probably shrinks back down into his hybrid form, which makes it a little easier to deal with, right? So Hiriluk takes Chopper back and bandages him up and everything, and begins to tell him about how, I want to be a great doctor that creates the ultimate cure for everyone in the land, that can even cure a sickness of the heart. See, that's why I'm thinking his disease back when he was younger was not like a typical kind of like disease that afflicts the body. It was more of something that afflicts the mind or the soul, so to speak. Soul! He looked around at his country and he saw what Wapol was doing, and he saw like how everybody was like the heartache, of what the country was and now what it's becoming. And Hiriluk, he can't like fight against Wapol's guards or his, army or whatever. He can't do anything against that. So he felt like Hiriluk, as a doctor, he has to maybe try to create a way to simulate, to replicate that beautiful display of cherry blossoms. Like, if I can make cherry blossoms bloom in the winter on a winter island, that'll reinvigorate the people. That'll cure them of their heart sickness, And so that was his goal. And so, he was spending most of his time in his little lab just trying to cook up as many crazy new tonics and ointments while also working on this plan to make cherry blossoms bloom in this winter kingdom, right? Now, I think we all know what happens from here. Wapol gets the bright idea, very rare in his case, he gets the bright idea to say that all the Ishii 20, the best doctors in the land, have been afflicted with this horrible illness. And so that'll get, maybe not Kureha, but this will get Hiruluk at least out of hiding, because Hiruluk is kind of the person that'll go anywhere when someone's sick. It doesn't matter who it is. So he declares, oh, it's so horrible, all of the doctors are sick. And Hiruluk immediately charges forth, he gets his way up to the castle, and that's the stare down with Wapol and his guards, and the Ishii 20 are there, and Wapol's like, ha ha ha! Hiruluk, you idiot! My doctors are perfectly fine! You've been had, Doc! This is your final standoff! Are you ready for your final checkup? No, Wapol wasn't even that creative to come up with that bad of a pun. It's like, you're gonna need a doctor after this! He wasn't even that clever. It's Wapol we're talking about here. But Hiruluk didn't even care. He didn't care that he was had. He didn't care that he was literally about... he knew. He knew what was going to happen. He showed up and the doctors were fine and he has a bunch of loaded guns pointed right at him. He knew where this was going to go. But he had this look of just relief on his face. And he's just like, oh my God, thank God. The doctors were not sick. I'm not the best doctor in the world, but if these doctors were to die, there'd be nothing left of this country. And then Ave Maria cues up in the background. And he's just like, and oh, by the way, I should also mention at this point, he did have a sickness that Chopper did attempt to cure. Now, I'm not sure if this was the same sickness he had, because Hiruluk was like 68 years old, I think, when he died. All right, and he did have some sort of, physical ailment during then, where he was like lightheaded and coughing and, but that could have been a very different thing, because, the way that we're supposed to understand this is when he was like way younger, maybe like in his teens or maybe 20s, he got some illness, saw the cherry blossoms, and that cured him of that illness. What I'm thinking more of like heart sickness or detachment from, humanity. And then, he ended up maybe catching another sickness later that nobody could do anything about. And then that's why Chopper went out to go get the Amiyadaki mushroom and bring it back to Hiruluk, okay? I think that makes more sense there. Because it works both ways. You have, okay, this is a cure for, this heart sickness I have, but then I have this other disease later on that can't be cured by anything, but Chopper, even so, tries to cure it because he wants to be a doctor too, and Hiruluk, it's his legacy that made Chopper become the great doctor he is now. So even with that illness, Hiruluk's death and his legacy meant volumes to more than just Chopper. It meant things to Dalton, to Kureha, to the country. I mean, that really was a big moment there. So that's why I like the little duality there with his heart sickness or his maybe depression in his younger days, and then maybe an actual physical ailment later, and that's what led to his death in a certain kind of roundabout way. So he's facing off against Wappo, and he ate Chopper's, he knew what it was. He knew it was going to poison him, and he knew he was going to die anyway. But, even with all that knowledge, even all right, I have this horrible illness that's going to kill me probably in only a few months. Chopper gives me a poisonous mushroom that'll probably kill me in less than a day, and then I have a bunch of guards pointing rifles at me that are gonna kill me in the matter of minutes. So, just keep stacking it on, life, just keep piling it on. But once again, Hiruluk didn't care. He wasn't sad that his end had come. He was just sitting there. He takes out his briefcase, pours himself a last cup of sake, and has this moment where he's telling Dalton and everybody that'll listen about, when do you think a man really dies? When he gets this horrible illness, when he eats a poisonous mushroom, when he's shot for his beliefs. Nah. That's not when a man dies. It's when he's forgotten. That's what matters, right? And Dalton is bawling his eyes out, and he's like, is that true for a country? It's like, it is, if the will to carry it on lives. And so they have this cheery moment there. Honestly, I'm surprised Wapple didn't just in the middle of his speech, he's just like, what the hell is it? Fire! I don't care, fire. But no, Wapple was nice. He let him get out his whole spiel there. Chopper, of course, is rushing at the same time to try to save his dad, and at the same time that happens, he tells Dalton and everybody, he's like, a monster is coming soon, please do not hurt him, he is my son. And with that, he has an explosive device, he has some bombs inside of his briefcase, and with that, he raises his glass, and he's like, I've had such a marvelous life! And then, and he blows, and then Chopper shows up right when the explosion goes off. It's so awesome, just the way it looks in the anime. The explosion happens, and then Chopper's right behind him. He arrived just in time to see it happen, and then he just, hulks out and goes right at Dalton, and they're both crying, and Dalton holds him back, and he's like, don't throw away your life too, it's not worth it. By the way, did I tell you my favorite snack on Sunday afternoons is roasted chestnuts, lightly salted with sea salt? They're very delicious. You need to get out of here, crazy reindeer Hulk man Yeti. So, yeah, and then of course from there on, Chopper, waving the flag in front of Kureha, I'm gonna be the all-purpose medicine and stuff. So, when it comes to a good dad, when it comes to somebody that supported their child, even though it was not his own child, but a completely different species, because Chopper's own dad was a complete reindeer asshole, just kicked him out. You have a blue nose, now you're standing on 2 feet, get out of my herd, kid, And it's just he sees him, and they were only together for a short while. I think it was only, it might have been for a few years, but it wasn't for very long, all things considered, right? But yeah, and then after that, the whole legacy, I think Hiriluk knew what was going to happen next, kind of. I think he had an idea, you know what? I think I can leave this in other people's hands now. I think I can leave this in Kureha's hands, and I think I can leave this in Chopper's hands. And I think I made an impression on Dalton and a few of the other people there, the issue 20 and everything. I think this country's going to be okay. It might take a little while longer, but I think it's going to be okay. And, you know, don't worry about it. I don't think Hiruluk was arrogant enough to worry about people remembering him. Like, people need to remember me. No, it was like his message and what he was trying to do. You know, cure the heart sickness and, you know, the depression of people in the country. That's his real goal. And I think he knew that was going to live on, right? So, and it did, because Luffy shows up, beats the crap out of Wapol. They launch his final creation into the air, which at the end of the day was a type of dye that, you know, you launch into the clouds that, you know, all the snow on Drum Island will then turn pink, which, you know, is, of course, you know, symbolic of sakura petals. Not literal sakura petals, but, you know, enough so the people of Drum could have that feeling that Hiruluk had, and I think that really saved a lot of their lives at that point, knowing that, okay, this cruel ruler, he's gone for good, and now he's never coming back, and then that this is symbolic of the hope that Hiruluk wanted, and we're gonna take that and we're gonna, you know, thrust this country into a new golden era, or a new pink era, so to speak. But I think it worked out for everybody, you know, and Hiruluk is great. Now, you know, like I said, Zeph, he's a great father figure as well. I could do a whole video on him. Bellamere, also great adoptive mother to Nami and Nojiko. But Hiruluk has always just been somebody, I mean, his design was unique. Bellamere's was too. So was Zeph. Actually, Oda's pretty good at giving very unique designs to the Straw Hats, you know, parental figures, you know. But yeah, he's such a unique design. His backstory was good. Kind of tied back into Wano a little bit, because I'm figuring the island that he saw covered in cherry blossoms probably going to be the island that's literally feudal Japan with all the cherry blossoms, right? Like I said, now he was 68 when he died. So if he saw Wano, it was probably during, like, the heyday of Wano. It might have even have been before, like, Odin was ruling over Curry or something. It might have been back when, like I said, if it would happen when Hiruluk was, like, in his teenage years, this was a long time ago. You know, this was, like, over 50 years or something like that, you know. So it might have been way back, way before Kaido or Orochi, you know, ruled over the place. It was, like, a beautiful just landscape. And then that's where he really saw it. And, you know, that would mean that Hiruluk was a thief that traveled all over the Grand Line, which is pretty cool, right? And he just decided to head back to Drum because it was his homeland. Also, by the way, if we're talking about great fathers, of course I have to mention Whitebeard at some point, and the place that Whitebeard and Roger, also a good dad, well, not really. He wasn't really there for Ace, and Ace actually hated his dad, but Whitebeard's a great dad. He's a great dad. And that place they were having their, like, drinks together was also most likely Wano. So there's that the case. And then also there's my dad right here. You know, happy Father's Day, Dad. I actually went out to eat with him earlier, so that was fun. That's when we went to a baseball game last year. We went to a Pirates game, so that was a lot of fun there. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Have a good day, everybody. Tekking101 signing out. Later.